I'm here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's.
Did the CIA write Wind of Change by the Scorpions?
As humans busied themselves about the various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied.
Dr. Loeb, what percentage chance do you give it that you have indeed uncovered extraterrestrial or non-human technology?
With infinite complacence, people went about their affairs, yet across an immense ethereal gulf, intellects vast and unsympathetic threw their plans against us.
All of a sudden, a stick out of nowhere landed right in front of us, and there was no tree, nothing overhead. Something threw it at us.
Yeah.
All things unexplained.
So some of that, I think, sir, we'll save for closed session.
Hello, all you unexplained ones. Welcome to the All Things Unexplained podcast. I am your host, CJ Derringer, and I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Mounce, or as we're calling him these days, number 718.
718, that's right. Back from Beast Games, and we've got a very special episode tonight. CJ, Beast Games Behind the Competition, Part 1.
We have been waiting so long to talk about this. We've known for a long time that Tim was on Beast Games. He was going on Beast Games, and we have not been able to say a word until recently. So this is really exciting. And we have a few other very fun Beast Games contestants joining us tonight on tonight's episode. But before we get started, we did want to talk a little bit about what's going on in Southern California. So here we are in North Carolina getting hit with snow and rain and freezing rain and sleet and wishing we could send it all over to Southern California. My heart has been very heavy this week. Southern California is where I grew up. These are all a lot of my old stomping grounds. And Tim, you were just there for the premiere.
That's right. I was lucky enough to go a few weeks ago to Santa Monica for the premiere or to see a private screening of Beast Games. And, I've been shocked to see the scenes that I've seen this week from LA, from Santa Monica, from places that I was at. I've recognized the volleyball courts in some of the pictures I've seen, and I'm just shocked. It's complete devastation. And one thing that struck me when I was a part of Beast Games is how many people involved were from the LA area. And so I've had a very heavy heart for these people in the LA area. And so many people I know that has been affected by it. And I want to point everybody, if you feel led to help out, I've been following Chef Lauren and Andrew Gruel on X, or Twitter, as it used to be called. And they are really doing everything they can to help out. They're avoiding the middleman and accepting deliveries in their own restaurant's parking lot, the same parking lot that they are allowing people to go and park in, and they're making meals for them. They're doing whatever they can for the people there. And they said, if you Amazon, Target, Walmart, etc., if you want to have deliveries of needed items, and I've got the address scrolling at the bottom to Chef Lauren and Andrew Gruel, 16600 Pacific Coast Highway, Huntington Beach, California, 92649. We're going to have that scrolling at the bottom probably for most of the show, and it's scrolling down there right now. That's Chef Lauren and Andrew Gruel. I know on Amazon it's real easy to set up other addresses. 16600 Pacific Coast Highway, Huntington Beach, California, 92649. You can deliver your items there, and they will get it where it needs to go. They said that one thing they really need, and they said emphasize this, are kids' shoes of all sizes. And, CJ and I were both scrambling for snow clothes for our kids today. They go through clothes so fast, right?
Yes, they do.
They really need kids' shoes of all sizes. They also need new socks, new underwear, shoes in general, feminine products, and toiletries such as soap, lotion, and toothpaste.
Yes. And Tim is not from California, so we will forgive him for pronouncing that T so strongly in Huntington Beach. Huntington Beach. And yeah, it's really easy for us all to sit and look at our phones in shock and awe and look at these pictures of this fire devastation. But, this is people's livelihoods. And I was just walking with girlfriends back in this September, and they were telling me that all of their fire insurance had been canceled. I know that this is something people are hearing on the news, and it's true. This is true. People's fire insurance in California have been canceled, and now these people have lost their homes. So if you can imagine somebody still has a mortgage on a home that's now been burned to the ground, you can't come back from that. You just can't. It's impossible. So we all are going to need to rally around and support California, just like we've all been supporting Western North Carolina after Hurricane Helene. And boy, in these times, we always look to the helpers, right? To see the good. Look to the helpers, and Chef Lauren and Andrew, are helpers right now. So we're grateful to them. So do your part, do what you can.
Yes.
And we're going to dive into this show.
Absolutely. And I want to say this again, too. Thank you for bringing up Western North Carolina. They suffered apocalyptic flooding not that long ago. And folks, they still need help. They still have a hard time. I saw today lines of vehicles from people, living in their RVs and that sort of thing, 3 miles or longer, waiting to get propane and other ways to heat themselves. This is a major snow and ice storm is hitting the area. So things are still bad. Can't rely on the news to cover that sort of thing, but it's real. People are in a hard way. And so please keep them in your prayers as well. Now, when we come back from this commercial, we're going to welcome some special guests from season 1 of Beast Games. I'm already here. It's kind of weird. I'm a guest and a host tonight, 718 from Beast Games. And so slight spoilers might be in store for you for episodes 0 through 4, but probably no spoilers for episode 5, which came out just yesterday. So we will all be here after this short commercial.
All Things Unexplained is free to watch on YouTube and listen to wherever you get your podcasts. If you would like to support our show, you can visit our YouTube store. Additionally, you can find us on Venmo under All Things Unexplained. Be sure to check out our website, allthingsunexplained.com. All proceeds from the sales of Dr. Mounce's books on Amazon and Audible also go straight to our show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Our first ever episode about Beast Games. We have been waiting to have this show. So thank you for joining us. Tonight we have Devin Youngblood. We've got Beth O'Connor. We've got Wes Kaczmarek. We have got, who did I miss here? We're Jesse Forte. Thank you. And we have Dr. Mounce, all competitors on Beast Games. And this show is nuts. It's absolutely crazy. And you guys lived it. And I can't wait to hear from each and every one of you about your experience. So we're just going to go roundtable style. I want to meet each one of you and find out how you got on the show, why you knew about the show, and why you decided to apply. So I'm going to start with you, Jesse. Good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey. Dr. Mounce, thank you so much, 718.
Yes, sir.
CJ, pleasure to meet you. Devin, my guy from the green team, what's going on? Beth and Wes, what's popping? Man, first and foremost, I am in Hollywood right now. Family had to get evacuated from Altadena. My aunt, she lost her whole home. Grandma was in the fires. It's been a rough past couple of days, but we're just pushing through. And I just finished the workout and I'm starving, so I had to go get some vegan pad thai. So bear with me while I get my food. But I'm Jesse, number 445 from the Beast Games, analog astronaut, product manager, and just really excited to share my experience and just reconnect with you guys.
Yes, thanks for joining us. And so very Hollywood of you to just be getting your pad thai and doing a podcast at the same time. So you've made it. Congrats, Jesse.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Heading over to Wes. Wes, what inspired you to go on Beast Games?
Well, Mr. Beast is from Greenville, North Carolina, about an hour and a half from where I'm at in Durham. And I actually went to ECU where he potentially tried to graduate, but as a student, they kept on sending out emails. Hey, have you heard of Mr. Beast? You want to try to be in one of his videos? I tried. They called me. I didn't answer, tried to call them back. It never happened. So about a year and a half after that, I got another email talking about the Beast games. And it was like, hey, do you want to try out? Talk to the wife, talk to the boss. And they're like, hey, go ahead. Because I had the itch to do another show because 2019, I was on Wheel of Fortune. So I was out in California for 3 days, fun experience, nothing like the Beast games, but yeah, just to be around cameras and all those people was pretty cool.
Yeah, so cool. Okay, so North Carolina boy here. And then we've got Beth. Oh my goodness, Beth, you were so much fun to watch on Beast Games. Highlight for me, Beth O'Connor. Number 564. What inspired you to go on Beast Games?
Oh, I wasn't inspired.
So you were forced.
I was forced to go on these games, and you know what? It was a good thing I was forced. If I had known all we were going through, I might have just hid out in my closet for 2 months. But no, I've done a couple of other videos with Mr. Beast.
Oh, okay.
I did the age 1 to 100.
Yes.
And 2 years ago, and then also this past year. So he and I have a relationship, I guess. And
Oh,
so
that's fun.
I was asked if I would be on it, and honest to goodness, it just sounded like an experience that if you don't do it, you'll never have another chance. And so it was exactly as I expected.
Yeah, cutthroat and crazy.
It was cutthroat. It was crazy, but I mean, like, I still have a major crush on Devin 486. And
We're getting into the spicy parts already.
Not for anything, but also Wes and Tim. It truly at 72 years old, it changed my life.
Wow.
It's changed my life. Just Mr. Beast in general has changed my life.
Yes.
So,
oh, that's lovely to hear. Well, you look great for 72.
I had a blast.
Oh, good. Good. You survived Las Vegas. That sounded like it was a little treacherous.
I survived Las Vegas. I even got to the city.
Yes.
So, as one of my friends who's a math geek said, Beth, you were top 15%. Was like, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Good. It's pretty good.
That is great. All right, Devin, what inspired you to go on Beast Games?
I'm just probably crazy, to be honest. No, no. So I got a phone call from my agent, which she retired just a few months ago, but she's like, hey, I signed you up for something. I'm like, what'd you sign me up for? Did you get a phone call? It's something to do with Mr. Beast. You'll be fine. I'm like, I'll be fine. I said, have you seen some of the stuff? And so I'm like, okay. So they called me and they tell me, that I need to do this. And they're like, hey, you have a passport? I'm like, no. They said, okay, call us back when you got one. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I flew to Denver literally the next day, spent $600 just to get a passport immediately.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But no, I sheer craziness. And then now I have some clout with my kids. So there's that. So
Hey, that's important.
Way, I think speaking for everybody, Beth kept everybody happy and sane. Just going to say that. I mean, there's no better person in the world than this lady right here.
Thank you, sweetheart. That's kind.
What an honor to have you on the show, Beth. Thank you, Devin, for sharing that. And yes, having clout with our kids sometimes is the only reason we do anything, right?
Gotta have the clout with kids. Exactly. I'd rather have clout with my kids than anyone else, to be honest. So.
Same. Absolutely. All right, Dr. Mounce, how did you end up on Beast Games?
That's a great question. And it's a lot like Devin said. And I want to remind everybody, by the way, if you want to know more about our esteemed guest tonight, check out the show description. If they've got links, we've got them in the show description for you to click on. It was July for me, and I've heard people who had different stories about this, but it was July for me and my son, who was 10 and a big Mr. Beast fan. And basically, you might remember this, CJ. I really didn't know much about Mr. Beast. He said, Dad, Mr. Beast is starting a new show. It's going to be the biggest show in history with the biggest prize ever, $5 million. I was a little skeptical. So I Googled it. I shouldn't have been skeptical. I should have known because he's pretty on that kind of stuff. And I Googled it, And boom, there it was. I said, "You're right. $5 million, 2,000 or 1,000 contestants." That's what I thought at the time. And you talked about Beth surviving Las Vegas. This is why anybody I tell to watch Beast Games, I start with episode 0 because we made it through 1,000 people, right? That was a big deal to me. Now they whittled that down to 25 minutes, but I want everybody to watch episode 0 because we went through a lot to make that 25-minute YouTube video. But I joked with my son, so it was kind of a joke. I said, you know what? It'd be funny if I applied for Beast Games, wouldn't it? So I went in the house, and I don't know what possessed me, but I made an audition video. I thought it turned out okay. CJ's seen it. It was okay. It included a quick image of me spiking a volleyball off CJ's head over at Sand Volleyball. And
the
so
only video I'll ever have of it, I promise you.
So she helped. And a week later, my phone rang, Los Angeles, California. I sent it to voicemail. I checked because I'm not used to answering Los Angeles. That's just not in my forte. And I saw the voicemail, and then I got a text. And I got a text and it said, "Hey, this is Beast Games. You wanna be on Beast Games?" I'm like, "Okay, let's go." So that was my path to Beast Games. And just, I don't know, 2 weeks after that, I was in Vegas.
Yeah,
Wow.
it happened quickly for you. And my family didn't know about Mr. Beast either. So we spent the next 2 weeks watching every Mr. Beast video that's ever been made and fell completely in love with all that he does. So we are excited for you to head off to Mr. Beast. All right, we want to find out more about the show because as a viewer watching episode 1 and the towers or podiums or whatever you call them, watching people fall through one after the other, after the other, after the other. That was cinema unlike anything I've ever seen before. So I've got to get into your heads into how this all went for everybody. So we will start with Jesse again. Tell me, what was the craziest moment for you filming Beast Games?
The craziest moment, everything about it was crazy. From, being on the green team, I was elected as the captain when we were, bringing up the big old rocks that were 10,000 pounds. To being eliminated during the puzzle, and then not knowing if I would be able to even go to the city. And so going through that whole process of, okay, hey, well, I made it this far. I made it to Canada. That was tough. But then when we when Jimmy got on top of the money and he said, hey, we have over 100 people that have dropped their block pieces. There's still an opportunity for some of you guys to stay in the game. And then they brought all the cameras to me. It really brought my spirits back up because it gave me another opportunity to be a part of the games. And I think one of the toughest things was Devin. So, I was with you in green, man. Like we were the Green Berets, bro. And Devin's just in my ear. Like, he's second in command, asking the questions, relaying it back to the team, just like hyping the squad up. He's like, so what are we going to do next, Jesse? What are we going to do next on this one? And we're just kind of talking it through. And I remember looking on the 3 stars. I was on 3-star team and looking across and seeing Devin and then the guys that I was with. And I was just like,
I was dying, by the way.
I was like, no, this is not how it's supposed to go. But at the same time, happy, that the guys that, I rocked with at the beginning got to move forward. I actually just hit Dino up yesterday. This is a side note, but, Dino is captain of the Beverly Hills firefighting team. And I messaged him. I said, Dino, do you guys need extra firepower? Like, I got you. Let me know. Like, I have a willing car. And he's like, do you got pants? Do you got a helmet? I said, no, but if you can get me some, or you got somebody that's off the schedule, like I'll pull up ASAP. So it was just nice to see some of the guys move forward.
Oh man. So it sounds like highs and lows, up and down while you were there.
High highs and very low lows afterwards. I think I've never been in the military, but I felt some sort of like a PTSD after, being eliminated. But, with all the things that I have going on, like it just gave me a big fire to, keep moving forward and to work on the things that I'm doing here outside of the Beast Games. And I know a lot of people felt that too. It was tough. It was tough getting eliminated, but that was what we signed up for.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's hard when you all go in with the mentality that you're going to win $5 million because what's the point of going if you don't have that mentality, right? And then 1,999 people are not going to win that $5 million, but you have to keep that mentality in order to keep moving forward and go through what you all went through. Wes, tell me, what was your greatest moment? What was your hardest moment at Beast Games?
The hardest moment was that flag game. You have so many people lining up, everybody screaming, everybody going to the line, pushing forward, and everybody saying, you have to go now, you have to go now. But I had a good group. Everybody was talking about, let's just wait it out. And to the right, facing Jimmy and everybody, our group was just talking to each other, saying, hey, go this time, working together, camaraderie. And Beth can attest to this. We just pulled Jimmy up front, and we were like, hey, give a flag to Beth. They put it right in front. Everybody spread and just let her move on to the next one. I think that was one of the good highs for it. And just meeting everybody, hanging out. We had so much downtime. We were there for 4 days in Vegas. I was there for close to 8 days in Toronto, filming on camera, off camera, and just hanging out with new people, friends that I talk to now.
Yeah.
That's
great.
It was a good experience. Make me want to do it again.
Oh, there you go. That's the application. Beast Games number 2. Here comes Wes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have good insight next time going in. All right, Beth. So you sounds like you had a good experience, but tell me about your highs and lows.
Well, it's interesting that Wes brought up the flags.
Yeah.
Because this is the funny part that no one knows. Right before that.
Oh yeah, Dr. Mounce knows because he's told me this story, but everybody needs to hear this.
Okay, I don't know if he knows this piece. So my wife was also in the competition, and they had us both mic'd. And I was at the point I wanted to go home.
Oh.
She was at the point she was ready to win the 5 million. And so we got away from the front line and stood on one of the platforms, and we're having this conversation, and we're both crying because I'm saying, I want to go home. I want to go home. And she's saying, you can't go home. Jimmy's counting on you. You can't go home. And then we realize we're mic'd. And so we're trying to cover the mic and still have this conversation, and the tears are running down my face. And Annie turns to me and she said, don't look now, but Jimmy's coming and he's pointing at you. And I thought, oh boy, what have I done wrong? Because that's my first go-to, right? Doesn't matter how old you are. What have I done wrong?
I'm in trouble.
Here comes the teacher, here comes the boss. And he said, Beth, come here. And so I didn't know what was going to happen. And Wes he just said it. It was, people were so kind because it was scary. I did not want to go flying in the air. I didn't want to go, you know, foot to foot in a race. When someone said to me, Beth, when's the last time you ran? I had to think, and I said 1970. Devin, you were close to me. You know that was true.
I wasn't born until 1978, by the way, just so everybody knows.
On numbers, right? So the lowest point in the whole thing was at that moment, and the highest point was 5 minutes later.
Aww.
So, and then taking that flag, as you all know, and running to the back, OMG. That was like phenomenal. Just the excitement of all those that had gone before me. It was magical, just magical.
How many people got hurt in that competition, in that flag race? Because they showed a few people tumble, and I thought, I bet there are some tumbles they did not show.
They did. They did not show they didn't show the real tumbles. I don't think they did. Did you guys think so? I mean, people got concussions. So people went, bang, head to head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
you could see how that would happen.
Well, they took 4 days of footage and condensed it down to 20 something minutes.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly. So,
and that briefcase challenge, people had to have gotten hurt in the briefcase challenge.
Oh, you see the briefcases flying in the air. You see people banging into each other and the stands falling down. Well, people were underneath some of those stands. People did get hurt.
Oh man.
And the first challenge, the boulders, the boulder
Right.
pool.
The boulders people got hurt.
Oh, trampled, I would
Got
think.
stepped on, yeah.
That's true too. I mean, I was on the yellow team. I had started on the green. We all had to split to make two more
Yes.
teams. So I was on yellow. And after the first pull was like, I thought I'm going to lose my whole arm, because it was all of a sudden you're tangled. You know, some people were pulling so much faster than others. It was like, I'm about to get trampled. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that was intense.
Yes. And now last question for you, Beth. Did your wife get a flag?
No.
Oh,
And as she says, when anyone says, "Did you get a flag?" She says, "No," and I'm still mad about it.
I bet. Bring her on this podcast. She needs to have her share. She needs to get
Well, we live in LA, and as I told the guys earlier, and you, CJ, we had to evacuate. So we're staying with friends. So she's doing the social part now, so I could be with you guys.
Oh, nice. We'll give her our
Next time.
thanks, please.
Next time.
Yes, yes. All right, Devin. Highs and lows.
Highs and
What
lows.
were they?
Honestly, so other than being on a Mr. Beast video, just going to say that, not just a video, but like a series, which is one of the coolest things in the world. Probably the people. Honestly, I can say this as a 46-year-old man. It is very hard to make friends, and I can count the number of friends I have on literally my hands. But then I go to Beast Games, and I've got friends like crazy that are like, coming out of the woodwork. They're way younger than me. That are like some that are older than me. I mean, I hung out with Beth a good bit in the city, and I mean, just in general, I mean, the people were amazing. And I think if you watch the game, that you what you see on TV, they're showing a lot of the cutthroat stuff, but they're not. What they're really not showing is how well we actually took care of each other. And I think that I hope that they show a lot more behind the scenes later. I mean, he's got what do you say, 100 years worth of footage for this whole thing. I mean, it's insane the amount of footage that they have. But I mean, I think that's the highs of the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd say
Trauma bonding is what that's called, by the way.
well, I mean, trauma bonding, Stockholm syndrome. It was all involved. It was all part of it. But
we're not prisoners.
I want to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think probably my low point, my lowest was, and it was so I said I was going to spill some tea tonight, but this is probably part of the tea is, so one of the challenges we did, which was episode 3, where we had the cubes.
Yeah.
So me and one other guy were pretty much like a lot of the dads of the group. Dave Gallagher. I don't know if you guys know him. I cannot remember Dave's number, but a lot of the girls.
Dave.
Yeah.
He's got 7 kids.
Yeah, he's got 7 kids. I've got 5.
And he was maybe going to join us tonight, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, it didn't work out.
Which I understand why.
Yeah, he well, I talked to him earlier. He said he was sad he's not going to make it, but yeah.
Oh, that whole cube thing looked very twisted.
It was drama.
It was rough. It was drama, and I know it was drama for everybody in the cubes, but they did a really good job of making drama out of the 2 brothers.
Oh, that was easy to do.
Oh, okay, fair. That's fair. That cube.
I like those guys, but they made them great villains. I can tell you what.
They made some good villains for sure. They really did. But I do think it took away from some of the other kind of psychological struggle that other people were going through in those cubes, because that could not have been easy for anyone. So Tim, Dr. Mounce, tell us a little bit about your highs and lows.
Yeah, well, I mean, there were so many I want to recognize. First of all, friend of the show, 9 Lives Energy, who said it was your accent that got you your ticket. You know what? I'm not going to lie. It was probably my accent and my hair that got me out of Vegas. I'm just saying. So they both helped me get out of Vegas. And everybody, check out 9 Lives Energy. She has a great channel. She does great work over there. Check her out over on YouTube at 9 Lives Energy. So Jesse hit the nail on the head, and you hit the nail on the head with it too, CJ, talking about PTSD. And I've literally had it since I've been back. I mean, I'm still not over being eliminated. It bothers me when I'm eliminated from a competition in the real world. It bothers me heavily, and it's still haunting me how I went out from the show. Should I've made a different decision? It feels like, yeah, I should have. What would have happened differently? So it's been tough, and probably one of the unique things about it, episode 2 in B City on the towers, I was the first to go that night in the ball catch challenge, and I actually traded my token to get in the ball catch challenge. I'm like, because we knew what this was going to be, right? It was one of the few that was obvious. Like, we about to be catching some balls popping out of the ceiling. that was clear. And so I'm like, I can contribute here. I want to catch some balls. This is right in my wheelhouse. And by the way, thank God I wasn't on any of the other challenges except the giant red cup shootout would have been fun. But the other 2 floors, my gosh, I did not want to be on those. Well, and so the ball catch challenge, I'm thinking I'm going to really get some time here, TV time. I'm going to be catching balls. I'm going to be diving and stuff, making catches, showing out. 3 seconds later, it's over. The challenge is over, and my tower turns red. And it was one of the worst moments of my life. It was horrible. I'm thinking, how am I going to tell my kids I just got eliminated in a ball catch challenge? And Nine Lives Energy thinks this is not funny. No, I'm kidding. I'm like, how am I going to tell my kids I just got eliminated in a ball catch challenge? This is the worst. And then we just continue to be up there, and they make this go kind of fast on television, but in life it was a couple of hours. And I'm just kidding. Nine Lives Energy, no harm done. But in real life, it was hours that we were up there. It was cold, it was windy, and we're all just up there tormenting ourselves. We're so sad. We're out. This is done. But why are we still up here? It's taking so long, And then hours later, they come out, we got something to tell you. And they reversed the decision. The other dude on the other team, he dropped his ball immediately. So the challenge really took 1 second. 1 second. And our tower turns green. So now I'm at one of the highest highs of my whole life. And Jesse, I actually was telling a friend of mine about this at Cornhole and talking about another high, meeting so many great friends. Wes now comes to play in our local Cornhole league.
Cool.
Yeah, CJ's out there too sometimes, and maybe Beth can join us sometime. But Jesse, I was talking to my friend at Cornhole, and he's a psychiatrist, and I wasn't aiming for psychiatric help, but he dished a little bit of free advice out to me. He's like, it is that phenomenon is what they go through in the military when they experience their lowest of lows and their highest of highs within very short time frames with no one from their real life. Surrounded by essentially strangers, but your new friends and family, right? And I think that's part of the things that made this television show very different, in my opinion, than any other television show in history. There were so many of us. We went through so much together. So many things happened in Vegas that weren't a part of the algorithm, in my opinion, that bonded us together. CJ called it trauma bonding, and we experienced the highest of highs and the lowest of lows with each other. And I think that was a unique experience, and I'm so happy that I got to be a part of it.
Yes. All right. We've got lots of people tuning in right now, and I know that Beast Games is a phenomenon right now, not just in the United States, but all over the world. It's the most watched show on Amazon in I don't even know how many countries. So if you have questions about what happened on Beast Games, now is your chance. Put them in our chat. We are going to take listener questions later on in the show. So thank you for joining us. Give us your questions. I want to know some of the things that happened behind the scenes. So starting with, like I said, the tower. No, not the towers. What were they called? The podiums?
Carl's drop towers.
The ones that you guys, that people
fell through. Yeah.
That's what they're called. Carl's drop towers.
The towers.
Okay. The towers. What did people fall into? How far did they fall?
We haven't heard from them since.
What people?
They're gone now.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
all gone.
What do
They're
you
still
mean?
falling. So last I heard.
Yes. I mean, the way that it looks on TV was
So-
phenomenal.
so
They
wait,
did
what-
such a good job
So
editing.
they put a crash pad underneath it, and then there's foam squares on top of the crash pad, is what it was. So
Okay.
essentially, they would just fall down. And once it split open, they would fall down, and they would land on all the foam. You know, anyone here fall in it? I know I didn't. I just know what I saw, and I know what they explained it to me was. So,
Well, what we did hear from some folks is when, so many went down in a real fast time period. And there were only so many Beast staff members that could unlock their doors from below. That people were screaming for 30 minutes. I'm in here. I'm in here. So talk about trauma, because it was dark in there. You couldn't see anything.
That is next level intense.
Intense. Yeah. And of
I'd be
course,
panicking.
I'm sure that was part of the plan. Right, guys?
oh yeah.
I mean, maybe, but
Yeah.
that wasn't shown on television. They weren't ever going to use that footage to show on television. So they were just locking people in dark rooms for 30 minutes after they just fell through the.
I mean, they
I
got
don't
them as
know.
fast as they could, but I mean, there's only.
Yeah. 20 minutes.
It's a long time to be waiting in one of those. Oh, yikes. Hopefully they were shouting like, we're coming. Hang tight.
But look, it was a fantastically huge space. And I don't know about y'all, but I'll never forget walking into that facility for the first time and seeing the base of those structures and the hydraulics and the electronics that were hooked up to each of them and how they stretched on as far as the eye could see. And I'll never forget wondering exactly what is going on here. What have we gotten ourselves into?
Yeah.
But y'all, it reminded me of the end of that Indiana Jones movie where they're putting away the Ark of the Covenant and they're hiding it in this vast warehouse that
Yes.
just stretches on as far as the eye could see. And I'm like, is that what's going to happen to us? We're going to just get put away with some ancient relics up in here or what?
We'll get to you later. We'll get to you later.
So what was the most cutthroat thing that you guys heard anybody say on those podiums and they were trying to get somebody to self-sacrifice? What did you hear?
I know there was a guy. I can't remember who it was. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was like back and to the left of me. He just kept screaming, "Push the button! Your wife's gonna hate you if you don't. Your kids don't love you. You better push the button."
Holy cow!
Just random things. Your dog is peeing on your couch. You got to get home. I mean, just whatever.
I could hear him too.
Yeah.
It got to be funny.
Yeah, it was
Wait, so
comical, but.
There was a moment when we were getting ready to eliminate entire groups, right? The whole 80 rows, right?
Yeah.
And I guess our 4 row was talking to me, and they're like, "Hey, like, we want to consider you as our 4 row leader, but we want to make truce with such and such team." And I'm not going to say who I was talking to or what, but this was their recommendation, and they were just like, "Hey, listen, all right, so if it really goes down like it's supposed to, we're just going to get rid of the 11 group." And I said, "Well, how do you do that?" Or like the 1000 group. He's like, "Well, we're going to team up and we're just going to eliminate them together as a group." And I was like, "Oh, like 80 people just like that?" But yeah, that was pretty cutthroat for me to just, just be like, I mean, hey, not us, it's going to be you kind of thing. But that was.
But didn't it require somebody to like in the first competition, somebody from each row had to self-sacrifice? So what were people saying to each other to get them to, how do you convince somebody, "Oh, I know you just left your family and you traveled all the way to Canada and you've been in this hotel waiting to get on this game and this is the first challenge, but you should go home." How do you get somebody to do that?
I had said that I would self-sacrifice because I think I was the oldest on my row for sure, but I think young people expected, "Oh, Beth, she'll self-sacrifice." And I promised I would. And I said, "But I am not going without getting at least $200,000.
Oh.
So I'm pretty sure, and I'm still hoping to verify this. I'm pretty sure that Brett, whatever number he was the first person to hit the button. It didn't show it in the film, but he was the first person. He was 900 and something. Remember that, guys?
He was the one that proposed
crazy
to
guy that he ripped his shirt off.
Oh yeah.
He climbed the tower. Yeah.
He climbed
Right.
the money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So he and I had done ages 1 to 100 together. He was
Okay.
69 and I was 70. So he was the only person I could talk to in 1 to 100. And so we had agreed we're both going to self-sacrifice, but only at 200,000. As soon as Jimmy said, start the clock, Brett hits the button. Nobody had a chance to even Jimmy didn't even have a chance to offer money. That whole thing was actually 8 seconds.
That went by so fast.
It was so fast. People were screaming, hitting the button as team, only 3 teams could be saved, or three were saved? No, 7 were saved.
The last
3 teams were eliminated. Yeah.
Right. And all of a sudden you could see the green lighting up all around you. And I'm still sitting like, uh-oh. And I hadn't been offered any money, so I wasn't going to take them.
Yeah.
I'm not sacrificing. So, and then thank goodness it was someone on our line sacrificed herself at the very last second to be the last team in because I think she was a substitute or something. I'm not sure how that worked, but she said, I've already had my chance. I'm doing this for you guys. So,
but those people didn't get any money, right? That first group, no money, just go home. Like,
I know Devin and I talked about this. Like, why didn't they jump? Why didn't they just jump the first time he said, I've got $1 million to share with you?
That was what 52 people took that, and they ended up being like 19,000 each.
Right.
On the first one, then the second one, it was like you're just leaving to save people. That's all you're doing. Which I was grateful for the person that did on our row. I mean, my row she did it quick, and I was like, oh, done. Thank you. I mean, I was stressing. I'm like, oh man.
Who's gonna do it? Because it's not gonna be me.
Right.
I did not come this far to lose this slow.
Well, I had a number in mind, and mine was I would have gone for about $1 million. I would have left for $1 million, but even then, I still had my goal was to be in more episodes than the money. So that's what I was going for.
Me too.
Yeah, that was me too. And you know what? The self-sacrifice, that was one of the challenges I struggled with the most because I knew that I was not going to self-sacrifice, but yet I couldn't convince anybody else to do that either. I couldn't even attempt to. And so that was one of the few challenges that I was just utterly helpless in. I'm not going to self-sacrifice, and yet I can't even participate in a way to try to convince somebody else to self-sacrifice too. And I don't know if y'all have thought about this, but so many things that went on for the Amazon show were a direct result of what we chose to do in Vegas, right? So in the flag challenge, right? Like I don't know if y'all remember, but they constantly encouraged us to wait. And I waited 718, right? I waited till the 700. So I waited quite a long time. I waited until I was surrounded by people I thought I could outrun in a race.
I was 10:56.
Yeah, there you go. So we waited. I was in no danger across that line. I was on the platforms eating chocolate bars, right? Like more chocolate than I've eaten my whole life. Chocolate, we were hiding under the platforms, and you look under there and like, oh, boom, dark chocolate sea salt. I'm in luck tonight. And
you made some little girls mad because they were looking for that chocolate later on. You know that, right?
Yeah. Whoops. Oh man.
I'm out of here. Bye, guys.
Yeah. So
that was
I waited.
Currency going on right there.
Yeah. Oh, it was. It was worth more than gold. But if y'all notice, the people that went at the very beginning, it was a lot of the same type of people, right? A lot of alpha males, younger alpha females, very aggressive, that sort of thing. Like this was your first several rows. And then you fast forward to Amazon and you needed to have somebody empathetic on your row. Somebody that wasn't a quote alpha personality and was just willing to sacrifice themselves for your team. And 3 out of those first 4 rows didn't have anybody like that. And you could kind of trace that all the way back to the flag challenge in many ways. And I wasn't necessarily going to talk about this tonight, but my self-sacrifice challenge, it was quite dramatic and darn, I'll talk about it real quick because this is All Things Unexplained. My self-sacrifice challenge there, it was downright paranormal, y'all. So I was on the platforms, and y'all know how we had these runners that would help us go to the bathroom and stuff. Well,
They would help you go to the bathroom?
Well, help us go to the bathroom, help us get
It's
snacks,
like,
and
here, you need us
you
to
know,
put
water.
your pants down? No, I'm kidding.
Hey,
You need me to hold that for you real quick?
TMI.
I mean, you know, it was Amazon. It was a whole nother level of service there. Well, so they had a lot more money than
this
YouTube.
bucket boy going down the aisle.
Sorry. Our runner, though. So her name was Maya. And at one point when I got down off my platform, I'm like, everybody needs them a Maya. She is so helpful. She's just above and beyond. Y'all all should be so lucky to have a Maya. And then a little bit later, one of the Amazon people comes by, a lady, and she wants to know if I'll do a vlog. And I'm like, sure, I'll do a vlog, you know. And she hands it to me. I'm like, what's your name? And her name was Maya for the Amazon show. And I told everybody around me, I'm like, look, what a coincidence. We got Maya, the runner, helping us out. And we got Maya, the girl, giving me the vlog. And now fast forward just a little bit, right? I'm about to go out. I'm within milliseconds going out. There's 4 rows left, and mine's one of them. 4 rows left, mine's one of them. I'm completely helpless. And then all of a sudden, my row turns green. My platform turns green. And we're all like, what happened? What happened? And 3 platforms down, and I felt like I knew everybody around me, but 3 platforms down, there's a young girl. I didn't know her name. Nobody else knew her name. None of us had ever talked to her. And then she had hit the button, and she had turned red. And at that point, we all started asking you about her, and we probably should have done that already, and said, well, you know, what's your name? And her name was Maya. And I thought, this just went beyond coincidence to something we talk a lot about on this show, which is synchronicity. And it was at that moment it really sank in that I felt, and this part what made it hard for me later, I felt like, wow, me and the people I'm surrounded by right now, we have a higher calling in this show at this moment. And the next opportunity we got to go outside, we all gathered flowers, little flowers, and we assembled them on Maya's platform, on top of her platform, just to honor her self-sacrifice. So that was a downright paranormal moment for me, and I had a few of those. So the self-sacrifice thing was hard.
Yeah, that looks like a challenging one. So nobody was shouting things at people like, you're weak, you're never going to make it far, you need to go out, you need to sacrifice.
I didn't hear much of that.
No, not like
Nah,
that.
man. I think the first couple rows, like once they saw everyone moving, then they started to panic and say some wild stuff. But it was more so, press the button, press the button.
Yeah.
In our group with the 4s, I mean, I stood next to one girl who ended up taking the challenge for the 19K. And then I sat next to another girl that had 444. And we were both looking at each other, and we were like, there was like a 10% or 20% chance that I would press it if we really need to. But I knew like the girl next to me was like, she still had like a lot of empathy for our group too. And it was sad to have to go through that, especially when you create cool relationships with people.
Well, I think the group of people that were like, honestly, even the 1,000 people we got there, I mean, you had the alphas there, but I think for the most part, they were good people. I mean, you know, even when the first few rows got eliminated, the core people were just good people.
Yes.
And, you know, they you know, there was some selfishness involved in it all. And we saw some of that on the episodes already, but they don't really portray the goodness that was in a lot of people. And I think that's a missed part of the editing, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. And what's amazing about that is that I guarantee every single one of you even said, I'm going to win this $5 million. I'm not going to make friends, right? Like, I'm going to do what I need to do to win and to stay on the show as long as possible. And then you get thrown into these situations with people that you did not know before this show. And suddenly your brain switches, and now you're trying to protect these people that are there with you. in that $5 million. And a perfect example of this is those captains that you guys all chose to go and represent your teams that stood there with a button and all kinds of money going up in front of them. And everybody at home, we had watch parties. All of us were going, push the button, take the money. You know, are you crazy? Take the money. Those people are not going to get the $5 million. Like, the odds are not good for them. Take the money and go on. And not a single person pushed that button.
It's crazy to know that, you know, just one quick movement could change an entire, you know, situation. Like, for instance, Devin, like if things would have flipped, right? And my team won the cup challenge, I would have been up there on the as one of the 4 people. I'm 100% sure. And a lot of people ask me, like, what would you do if you were up there? And the relationships that I created, like, it was deeper than $1 million. And I also know this is, like, everything is a test, right? Whether we think of it or not. And I felt like this was, you know, these were all tests, like turning down $100K, not shooting a $250 ball. Like, I just know that the way that the universe and God works is, like, when you pass certain tests, the real blessing comes in a way where you don't have to fight for it the way that we had to. So,
yeah. It's well, you do have to believe that something deeper was happening there, because again, as a viewer of this show, everybody at our viewing party was like, why would they not push the button? You can't understand it. You know that these people went on this show to win money. They're given an opportunity to just take $750,000, $1 million, whatever it is, and continue on to fight for this money. So again, before you guys all met each other, any one of those people would have pushed that button, but they didn't. So number one, you go, okay, they really are trying to do right by these teammates of theirs. But number two, you know that in editing, Mr. Beast wanted somebody to push that button, because that would have made a much bigger moment of somebody taking the money and the team being super defeated. And that didn't happen.
We broke their games. In many games, we broke their games. And that was one of them that we kind of broke the game, because you had 4 people up there that literally, like you said, that they could have walked away with $1 million. And sure, they could have continued on in the game, but then that would have been like 62 people eliminated. They're like, no, I'm not going to do that. These are my people. I mean, it's, again, whether it's that trauma bonding that happened or whatever, it worked. And I think it gave better TV. And I mean,
it made great TV.
This reminds me,
like, you're idiots. Why didn't you take the money? No one took the money. Why did they take the money?
Yeah.
A lot of these scenes remind me of the one movie where the Joker has the bombs on the 2 boats, right?
Oh my gosh, that's my favorite movie, The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight, right? And you have the prison guys, and then you have the civilians, and they both have their hand on the trigger, and it's like, who's gonna press it first? And then you go through all these questions about, well, they're in prison, they should already be dead, and you know, the prison people are like, they've already lived a great life, like, and then before you know it, it's 3 to 4 minutes have passed, and it's like, wait, they haven't pressed it yet?
Yeah, and the Joker's waiting for the bomb.
And Jimmy's the Joker, man. He's like, why haven't you guys pressed it? You know? Like, and Jimmy, if you're watching this, I love you, but you were the fucking Joker, bro. Like,
well, the man knows how to mess with people. That is true. I mean, I don't. And he didn't go to college. Where he started college, but he quit. But the reality is, when it came to Jimmy, he knows how to mess with people. I mean, he whether he has a psychological degree of whatever you want to look at it. The dude knows how to mess with people and make them make choices that normally they probably would or would not take. And then we blow his mind on stuff like that. That's just, to me, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to my captain, Jeremy, because you know what? We nominated Jeremy to go up there, and there were a lot of people nominating themselves to go up there for my team. And I told myself after that ball drop challenge, one thing I needed to do was be more vocal, because my team had a horrible plan for the ball, for catching the balls out of the ceiling. Horrible plan. And I should have stepped up and been willing to hurt some feelings there and ensure the victory for the team. And, winning makes everything better, right? And I saw these people, some of them trying to nominate themselves. And I'm like, man, we're in trouble if they get up there. I got to support my man Jeremy here, and so I helped get Jeremy up there, and you know what? He went up there and he did it, and I think actions speak so much louder than words. So I want to give a lot of credit to Jeremy and the others, but a lot of credit to my captain Jeremy for going up there and doing what we sent him up there doing and being a man of his word.
Well, let's talk about Jeremy, because he became a little bit of a divisive figure later on in the next episode, or maybe, yeah, the next episode. Some people loved him, some people didn't love him. What were your guys' thoughts on Jeremy? Because I haven't seen episode 5. I need to watch episode 5. But in episode 4, when people were giving him the tokens to get on the helicopter, there were some people that were anti-Jeremy.
I didn't really know anything about Jeremy, but like the way that I'm seeing it, he's like a monk. Like, dude just had this zen, this riz, and people trusted him. And sometimes like what's hidden in the dark eventually goes to light. So you got to be doing the right thing and treating people the right way for them to feel a certain way about you. So again, like, you could see everything was pretty transparent in the game. So if people trusted and respected him, I have no doubt that he was living that life while we were playing the game.
Yeah.
So my take on him. So I ended up giving my coin to him reluctantly out of that to get the 100 that he needed, because, and I say reluctantly because I have I guess one major issue with him, maybe two. But I gave it reluctantly because I didn't want to lose a helicopter, and I was doing the numbers. I'm like, okay, I'd rather send 6 people that I don't know than for us to have those 6 people still here fighting. So that just made it a little bit easier. I mean, if you look at the odds number wise, it's such a tiny amount, it really wouldn't have mattered. But it's still, to think of a helicopter leaving empty would have been crazy.
Right.
My issue with them is, people was, because I would say I'm a fairly religious, spiritual person, and growing up in the South, I have Baptist minister friends and cousins of mine. Then he acted, his persona that he put on, I don't know if it's real, cool. If it's not, it seemed fake to me, and that's why I like my Baptist minister cousins of mine. They are in it for the money. They're not in it to to help people or anything. It's about bringing them the money. And I'm here going, okay. And I see him kind of portraying the same picture throughout the whole Beast City. And I may be wrong, and I'll be the first one to admit if I am wrong, please correct me. But he just portrayed that, and he kept acting towards that. And I'm like, dude, it's like the people growing up in the South. People come to you and the first thing they tell you, well, I'm a Christian. And that's when you have to go check, make sure your wallet's still in your pocket. It's like, wait a second, that's not the first thing you say. You introduce yourself, you be nice to people, and people know that you're Christian based off of how you are, not what you say. And so that was my issue with him, because I could see that he ended up getting this large group of people that just followed him. Almost in many cases, some of them just like didn't even know why they were following him. I'm like, wait a sec. I mean, I'm a believer of God and a believer of Christ, but you're taking it to a different direction, and I saw it where it was potentially manipulation, and he was manipulating people to get what he wanted. And now that's my take, and obviously TV kind of portrayed it the same way, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
He could, yeah. I mean, I feel the cultish vibe as well. Like, I saw some things, and I'm just like, that's interesting. But like, everything was going so fast that like you don't really know what's going on. You're just like, oh, it's a flock of people.
Right. And given all that you guys went through, given all the trauma that you went through, if somebody was offering some sort of spiritual guidance, bigger picture of what we're all doing here, you could see where people would be drawn to that in those situations. Like, what is the reason that we're all here together? And maybe Jeremy was offering.
I mean, I wasn't going to drink Kool-Aid, I can tell you that.
And that was apparent in the episode that people were followers of Jeremy, or they had that exact sentiment. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Well, and I can tell you, I still remember when I first met Jeremy. We were both on a Beast Games shuttle van, and he was sitting in the back by himself, flannel shirt on, and quiet. And we started speaking, right? And one thing about him, he would spend time with you, and he would talk to you, and he would listen to you until you were done.
That's amazing with you because
I know. I know. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not a common trait. It's not a common personality trait. I admit I have problems with it. I'm ADD. I'm adult onset hyperactive, non-attentive person. Whatever you want to call it, too much coffee, etc. I grew up religious. I did some prayer circles in episode 0 in Vegas, and my hair helped me with that because people would come up to me and recognize me and like, oh, we saw you doing the prayer circle, and they would want to join in. We started doing them before the challenges, but I thought he was genuine, and I think most of all, he did what he was sent to do as the leader of my team. And in my book, I mean, loyalty is like everything to me. And in my book, that was it. What more could we have asked for?
No, I agree with loyalty is huge. I agree with that.
And yeah, if he was there to manipulate people, what was the manipulation for? Because you would think anybody that was on Beast Games, end game is the money. So you would think the manipulation would be for the money. And then he got up there and didn't push the button for the $1 million. So
$5 million is bigger than 1 million, though.
Right, but he would have been able to continue competing.
Well, so if you think about, so say he took the $1 million and he eliminated his entire group, then who would trust him anymore?
Right.
So
but I could tell you this alternatively, and I'm not saying I know anything, but I'll tell you this. Would you have wanted to go into a final sort of survivor style vote against one of the captains that didn't take the bribe?
No.
Better believe you would not want to.
Yeah.
Right. And that's part of why everybody gave their token, because he gave up that bribe.
Yeah. I mean, it's admirable. I mean, he gave up $1 million.
Yeah, I don't know that I could do it.
And I'll tell you something else to these captains. Shout out to them for this reason too. Episode 3, the truly the cubes of horror. That's what I called them from the very time I went in there, and they were horrible in real life. They were. TV can sensationalize things. CJ and I know this from things like The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, right? TV, obviously, it's going to sensationalize things. It's just the nature of the beast. Well, the Cubes of Horror is a situation where they didn't sensationalize it enough. I'm here to tell you it was much more traumatic in real life.
Yeah.
And guess what? Those 4 captains could have easily played that up in their cube and been like, look, y'all, I turned down $1 million. I need to stay. Jeremy didn't do it. Dino didn't do it.
Well, Harrison was offered it like 3 times.
Yeah, and Harrison didn't do it. And look what happened to Harrison.
And he got eliminated in the cube, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. That was crazy.
And you know what? I think that also speaks volumes about each of their characters. I mean, in my opinion, we're just, if we say anything else about them, it's just speculation. But look and see how they actually, what their actions portray, and I think that really says a lot.
I think that's really it. I mean, I didn't really talk to Jeremy much, so I can't really. I just know that he portrayed that vibe to me, and maybe because of trauma from me growing up around some of these Baptist minister cousins of mine that just would try to force it down your throat. I'm like, listen, hold on. We all are at a different pace. Now, you may be up here, but I'm down here. So let's do. And so maybe that's what it was with me with him. So I mean, I know we're friends on Instagram, so there's that. But that's we haven't really talked much. I mean, that's the thing. You don't really know someone until you sit down and have a conversation, and then multiple conversations. So there's that. Yeah.
I just had this memory. I'm a classic country buff sometimes, and I just had this memory that I was talking to Jeremy after the Cubes of Horror. And he asked me, if I wanted to pray with him. I was not in a good mood. I was not in a good mood. I don't know if I needed prayer, but this country song I love, it popped in my head. I'm like, no offense, Jeremy, but me and Jesus, we got our own thing going. I'm just going to take care of it over here by myself. But I appreciate you.
That's dope.
Oh, all right. So Let's hear some things that maybe we didn't see on the show that you guys are allowed to talk about. Any drama or scandal or behind the scenes things that were funny, things that happened that didn't make the show, things you've been holding on to. Wes, you got any?
Well, a bunch of stuff that happened in Vegas that they didn't show. How whenever we were doing the platforms, how that was very quick. And the team with the girl that tried to jump off for 50 grand, they were livid. They were getting in production's face, Jimmy's face, and it was kind of scary what was happening.
Yeah, they separated them too. They put her over here and they kept him over here.
Yeah, they had to separate.
So this is the challenge where they wheeled out the money. The first was what, $5,000, right?
$5,000.
$5,000. If you leave your platform, everybody's eliminated. Who wants the $5,000? Nobody took it. Then $50,000. Before he even finished saying it, that girl jumped off her platform and went for it. So then these guys all went wild.
It was their ticket to Amazon Prime. It was the last step. So you got to think 99 people. They saw it, and they had to go home. But didn't a couple of them come back to Toronto? Because
I know there's some people from the red team that were eliminated at the first challenge. I saw. Well, okay, so the guy that they showed that was actually bad-mouthing Jeremy the most, he was eliminated. He was on the red team. Canyon, that's his name, Canyon. He was and they pulled him back because not everybody can take away enough time to go film these things. So he was asked to come back. So he came back, and then you had, there were several people from the red team that from Vegas that went through.
Okay. All right. So we didn't get to see that. You're right. What else? Who else has the juicy details?
I got some juicy details.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I got two. I'll start off on a good note. When we had the bribe that went from 10K to 100K.
Yes.
I sat back with, we all sat back in these groups of people on the bus, and either you were quiet and you were playing a game, or you got to know the people around you. And I had this really cool opportunity to just connect with everyone that was sitting around, just, seeing where people are from, who they are. I got a good feel for, the energy that was in the room. And it was a bunch of young kids who were just really excited to be a part of this experience. And I was like, that's cool. Like I'm in the same boat. And so when we got told that the 4 people across from you, or 5 or 6, however many you had, basically we're going to be a team, and whoever took the bribe, basically eliminated your team. I brought everyone to my platform, and I just said, hey guys, like, I'm not here to take whatever they ask, and I know that we're going to have a great opportunity at the city. How do you guys feel about it? And everyone was kind of like, they were feeling the same thing. And so I asked them, I was like, do you guys mind if we just like hold hands and pray real quick? And we all prayed like in this circle, and the producers came up to us at the end. They're like, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Because we didn't really know what was going to happen. And nobody took the bribe. And two out of those 5 people ended up making it top 20, top 25. So even though they made it further than me, I'm still really happy that like some of the people that came from my group got to experience more of the Beast Games.
Yeah, that's cool. Jesse, what was your number again on Beast Games?
I was 445.
Okay, gotta go back and watch it now. All right, 445.
And then the last part, I had an antagonist. I had a guy. So on the flags, I got, in the middle of the pack. I wasn't too worried about speed. I was kind of I actually took a nap in the back for a little bit. And when I went up, I told the group of people that were, in front of me, I was like, hey, I'm going to grab this number 446. And this guy goes next to me. He's like, no, I'm grabbing that. I said, okay, cool. Well, I'll grab 445. And he says, well, she's grabbing that. And then I go, okay, how about this? I'm going to grab 445 because you guys just randomly said it. And there's 447 right there, and you guys can grab that. And so before they say ready, set, go, he like got in front of me and like shrugged me on my shoulder. And I asked him, I was like, can you please move out the way? And then he got in front of me a second time. And so I was like, bro, like of all the people you want to like mess with, like I'm not the dude. I'm not the guy. So I just had to dust him on this sprint, and I just like looked back at him. I was like, "Who do you think you are, boy?" And I took my flag, and I told him after I took the flag, I said, "When you do stuff like that, you create enemies, and you just created one." And he goes, "Oh man, you know, I wasn't trying to like, you know, take your flag or anything." I go, "No, I know exactly what you're doing, and just it's on from here." And so, yeah, man, I noticed that he, when our team was trying to figure out, you know, who was going to be the leader of the captain or blah, 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 like everyone was like 445. And then when he heard that and then he saw who I was, then he's like, oh, hell no, do not let this guy be the leader. And so he like went to the producers and he like told the producers that like I was like blackballing him or like going after him or something like that. And this group of people were like, no, dude, like we saw what you did with the flags. He told us the story, and then like we're seeing how you act now. So long story short, having to defend yourself in the middle of the games and like let the producers know like dude, I'm playing clean. Like you guys can watch the footage of what happened. And then just going through that was interesting. It was kind of amusing, but it was just draining too.
Well, and did he get flag 446? Were you guys right next to each other on the?
I don't know what flag. No, he wasn't 446.
Okay.
I don't know what number he ended up getting.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that was just some juicy details behind the stories.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the producers were really like giddy up. Oh yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's more stories.
Yeah, I had a dramatic situation with the flags too. Similar to Jesse's, as a matter of fact. Now, keep in mind, I don't think any of us were our right selves at that point. I know I was major sleep deprived. I mean, it's going to bed at 6 a.m. And for me, sun's coming up at 6:30, and I'm popping up with the sun. I'm like, you know, and I don't think I slept on the stuff on the floor anyway. Did y'all see? They verified what the stuff on the floor was. Did y'all see that?
That's what they were wondering if we were all allergic to it. That was in that letter. That's the pits, right?
Olives, yeah,
olive pits.
The floor really was made out of olives, and they showed it on a behind-the-scenes video, which is pretty interesting if y'all haven't watched that yet. But yeah, do y'all remember where at some point they were like, you know, when you get ready to go, make yourself get up to the front of the line, right, and kind of announce like, hey, I'm about to go, you know, coming up to the front. Well, I did that. So I start to realize what's happening, by the way. Y'all heard them talk about it on the show. This phenomenon where everybody thinks they're being super fair and everything, but they're really screwing over the people at the end because not many people are going out. So if you are waiting, you're suddenly in more and more trouble. So I'm like, I got to go. So I get myself down there and I kind of announce, hey, I'm coming up to the front, you know. And these three younger girls, they look back at me and they're like, no, you ain't getting up here at the front. We're about to go. And I said, okay, okay. And so I get down into what I call beast mode right behind them, right? Like I line up like a track, like I'm about to bust out of a track gate right behind them. And they see what's going on. They look back at me and they say, you better not knock us over. I said, look, when that air horn goes off, I'm busting out of here. And I ain't going to shove you down on purpose. But what happens when that air horn goes off, I can't promise you. I don't know what's going to happen. And so at some point I decided, though, you know what? I really do want to be at the front. So I'm just going to bluff this one. I'm not going. So the air horn goes off. A couple of them hesitate and they stumble out there. And the third one, she doesn't go. So I get myself all the way to the front. All right, now I'm getting ready to go. And she looks at me and she says, which flag are you going for? And I point about 30 yards ahead of me. I said, I'm going for that one right there. It's straight ahead of me, but about 30 yards out, not the closest one. And she said, but that's the one I'm going for. I said, good luck. That's all I could tell you. Good luck. I came here to compete. So let's get after it. And so that air horn goes off and look, I went there to kind of, you know, I guess you call it midlife crisis, but I ain't got many more glory days left in me. So I bust out there like Carl Lewis in the 98 Summer Olympics, and I'm getting after that flag right? And I snatched that flag up. I'm like, boom, this is my Olympic moment. I'm holding the flag, you know, I'm treating it like the torch at the Olympic ceremony kind of thing. Out of nowhere, that girl, she clips me from behind, clips me in the bottom of the legs, and grabs the bottom of the flag. Like she dove and clipped me in the back of the legs and grabbed the bottom of the flag. Well, I made a nemesis there too, because some people on the side saw that and saw her laying on the ground, thought I had shoved her down and took her flag, because I did. I jerked that flag away from her. I said some words I shouldn't have said. And I started making my way to the safe zone with the flag, right? Well, I'm on my way to the safe zone, and she comes busting out of nowhere again and dives and grabs the flag again and starts having a tug of war with me. Well, do y'all remember how long the instant replay took in the briefcases? And they decided, you know what? No more instant replay. We ain't doing instant replay for the flags. We got these judges out here, or y'all can rock, paper, scissors. And you know what? Those judges wasn't seeing anything. So I don't know if y'all noticed, but people started grabbing onto a flag, whether they were the first one or not, because they realized if a judge didn't see, hey, I still got a 50-50 chance going on, because they're going to make us rock, paper, scissors. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, God, please don't make me have to do rock, paper, scissors with this girl when I won the flag. Like I actually had a skill moment here and won the flag. And luckily, this judge comes out of the side and like, no, it's his. He had it. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And he drug her off the flag into the red doors. And you never seen somebody get to the safe zone so fast with the flag.
Sounds like the flags were a lot of drama. A lot of drama for flags. All right, Devin, how about you?
I mean, other than sending the guy home that was creeping on the girls, I mean, I had a flag. My flag moment was pretty intense because I was doing the averages. I was counting down. This many people have gone out. This many, and it backfired on me. The only thing that was my saving grace when it came to that was when Carl did the false start and he said yo instead of them doing the bullhorn, which was hilarious. And it's like, what, 30, 31, 32 people got eliminated immediately off that. But I had this little girl beside me, and she looks and she says, what flag you going for? I said 1055. She goes, oh, that's my flag. I said, this is the last run. He said there's no more after this. There are no more. I said, it's this fat man against you and all the other people that are in this room. And she says, but that's my flag. I'm like, here's the deal. There's that flag. There's one behind it. And there's one behind that. Then there's like two over to the right. Just run and get a flag. She goes, but that's my flag. I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, when I hear that bullhorn, you have to outrun me. That's all I'm going to say. I said, and it's easy because I'm a 46-year-old overweight man. You should be able to outrun me. And so when it bullhorn, I just took off. I just remember running so fast. I grabbed that flag. And like you said, because people were doing the rock, paper, scissors thing, I pulled that sucker in so close and I was holding it like this that Carl brought a camera out and got right in my face. He goes, why were you hugging that thing like that? I'm like, I don't want to have to fight it among other people with it. I just want it to be mine. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think that most of the drama in many cases was probably Vegas. I mean, my opinion.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are sleep deprived and underfed and over sugared and
smell bad.
Well, the thing is, the food,
no showers.
No showers. Well, the food in Vegas. Here's the take that I got from this. So I talked to a lot of the producers and things like that. That was all. They gave us enough food to sustain life. They gave us the same bland, normal food all the time. It was to try to force people to leave because they were trying to push to get to that 1,000 number as fast as possible. And people just were stubborn. And the food was obviously not a deterrent enough to get them out. So, you know, no one.
I loved it, man.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I love that hard-boiled egg, man. It made me feel like, well, because I cut weight as a boxer and stuff like that, and so just to like, I live in that type of domain, and so just to see everyone's just the psychology of like people breaking down and like not wanting to go any further, I'm just like, oh my God, I love it. And then I think I would piss people off because I'm just like, I'd just be so happy. I'm like, you guys ready for lunch? They're like, why are you happy? I'm like, because this is lit. This is amazing.
Out of all y'all's numbers, There's some on the even after the flags, they separated us for lunch. They said, okay, odds on this side, evens on this side. And I was an odd number. And when we go up to get our food, we got a feast. There was hoagies, there was charcuterie boards.
Yeah, that was messed up.
Yeah.
There was cupcakes.
I forgot about that.
There was so much food up there. And they gave us the normal rations that they gave us too. And then I'm here going, well, I don't want to eat this now. So I grabbed this hoagie and broke it in half. That here, you take this half and you take this half, and we just kind of split it up that way. And we had so much food, and then we find out that the even side, they just had the normal old meal.
Oh, that is messed up.
Yeah,
Again.
I was the even side.
I had good food. You did not.
And the eating really didn't bother me. I do some intermittent fasting. Only one part of the eating bothered me, and that was the lack of fruit. Y'all, I would have done like Survivor. I would have paid $1,000 for a banana. I was hurting for some fruit, and there was no fruit to be. I even asked. I got friendly with some of the workers, and every once in a while they'd or some of the temp workers, like the local people, and every once in a while they'd give you a little tip or let you have a little peek at something, And I was trying to find some dang bananas, and sometimes they'd be like, "No, man, the whole city sold out of bananas." I'm like, "What? The whole city sold out? What are you talking about?"
Well, I know a lot of people had issues with no new socks and no underwear, and they were doing. I know the underwear and sock thing was all done by last name. So by the time it came around to me, I'm like, forget it. I'm not getting it. And it was like the last day they called my name, and it was like within a couple hours, I knew we had one more challenge to do. I'm like, forget it. I'm not even going to go over there to get it because I've waited this many days without it. I can last another few hours.
Oh, yeah. Well, I gave up on that quick. I mean, it was like 4 hours after they started. I go over their underwear line. They're on the bees.
Yeah.
Like, what the?
Yeah, and mine's young blood. So, I'm definitely not getting
the underwear line. Had to get in the underwear line.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you could see them sitting over there. And you're like, you could see the letters in front of them. And you're like, can I just go over there and look through the M's? Come on.
Right.
Like, no, man, no, you can't do that. You can't cross this line. We're going to kick you off the show.
I was in line and I gave him my name. It was before they did alphabetical order. The guy took it, went in the back, came up front, and then he was like, "Oh, we're going to do alphabetical." And I was like, "But I'm K." I was like, "Can I just get it?" They're like, "No, we're sorry." Luckily, the guy in our group got his and he had extra. And I was like, "Can I borrow some?" He was like, "Yeah, take whatever you want."
That's awesome.
Just sharing underwear. Yeah. We're just sharing underwear at Beast Games.
I figured
day 3.
Well, you can wear your underwear 4 times in a row because you can frontwards, backwards, and flip it right.
Flip it over. Yeah.
I think chapstick. I was hurting for some chapstick, man. I had to go up to like some random stranger. I was like, "Hey, you mind if I use some of your chapstick?" She's like, "Go for it." So like, I'd like find her like every 12 hours, like, "Hey, got more of that chapstick?"
But again, that was Vegas, and all that changed once we went to Toronto. I mean, there was so much food in Toronto. We had access to everything, no worries. I mean, and I know some people have complained about medications in Vegas, but I never had problems getting medication. I walked straight into the little makeshift pharmacy and got my medication immediately, so that was no big deal. But I mean, once we got into Toronto, it was a total different game.
All right, you guys, Devin, Wes, Jesse, shout out to friends of All Things Unexplained, Strange Invaders, that UFO show, UFO Busters. I hope everybody checks them out. Hello, guys. Sad for LA people, they said. And that's right. And CJ, this will be a good time to remind everybody. We're scrolling across the bottom of our screen right now. If you feel so inclined, a way you can help with LA and the fires, and just send a delivery, Amazon, Target, Walmart, to the address you see there, Chef Lauren and Andrew Gruhl, 16600 Pacific Coast Highway, Huntington Beach, California, 92649. They most especially need kids' shoes of any sizes, and you can see the other items that they need down there below. And hello, UFO Busters. Welcome.
Yes, welcome to the show, and thank you to everybody that has tuned in and commented. We are talking Beast Games, and I've got to know, did you guys get to hang out with Jimmy, with Mr. Beast himself at all? How much was he actually present in the recording?
Jimmy was there, man. I mean, I got to speak to him in person a couple times. When we got to Canada, they brought us in small groups, just to connect with him for like 10, 15 minutes. But then he was in the city, he was walking around, and Nolan and Tarek and all the guys were there too. So it was pretty dope.
Yeah, we talked to Jimmy a little bit. I hung out with Carl and like Nolan more because Jimmy is, he's always, everybody wants to be in front of Jimmy. I'm here going, you know what? Let Jimmy have some space,
Yeah. Did they stay in the city as well? Did they have a space there that they were sleeping, or were they leaving the city at night?
No, they had suites.
Yeah, they had nice hotels.
Yeah. I had Nolan was on my plane leaving RDU, and so was Tariq. And then I got to hang out with Carl on the towers in between filming. He was just acting goofy.
Yeah, that's Carl.
Yeah.
That seems to be his MO for sure.
Yeah, we played games in the city with them. We played games and all that stuff. It was a lot of fun.
To think that they're just like young 20-something guys that started making YouTube videos and now they are international celebrities, but they don't seem to have changed too much in their personalities.
No, they're kids, man. They're just and it's wild. Like, imagine any of us, receiving that type of fame, like, and then also just trying to keep who you are, right? So I give it up for them, man. I think they did a great job on the show. It was really cool to meet them in person, and when we had the premiere, I actually I went up to Nolan and we were talking for like 15 minutes, and I was like, dude, like, if you ever come to LA, I can teach you how to fight. He's like, how? Teach me now. And so we made like a quick little like Instagram reel of like me showing him like some jabs and uppercuts and stuff. And I was throwing some hands at him. He's like, help me, help.
Oh, I saw y'all doing that.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. CJ, what do you think? Should we do one listener question and one hot take?
Yeah, let's do it. And then we'll send everybody on their way.
Well, this is All Things Unexplained. So how about we do a combo? Hot take on UFOs, or if you want to, the drone situation, if you're familiar with the drone situation.
Is the hot take just what's your hot take on UFOs? That's oh, okay.
Yeah, let's see where this goes.
Oh, all right. We'll start with Devin. Devin, what's your hot take on UFOs?
Well, I mean, I would have to say, if we're talking aliens, I'd have to say I'm not smart enough, or I would say I don't think I'm wise enough to say that they don't exist. But I don't know. I mean, I think they exist. I think that's real. I think the drones themselves, though, I think that's just like, our government got some good technology that we obviously don't know about. I mean, we didn't know about the SR-71 Blackbird until they decommissioned it. That's like any plane we get. So I don't know.
All right. Appreciate that. Wes, UFO hot take?
There has to be something out there. We can't just be the only planet sustaining life. There's so many experiences, instances with UFOs and the drones. And I think the drones are just some MIT person creating something and flying around, but there has to be aliens out there.
All right. Jesse, UFOs.
Man, so definitely know of some really interesting things that are out there. But one thing that I want to talk about that I don't think we ever really cover are interterrestrial beings. Beings that were here prior to human existence, right? That are out of our scope, that live nomadically, that have a higher sense of intelligence and use different technology than what we use, right? So nobody really talks about interterrestrial, but that's definitely something that we should keep an eye out for.
Absolutely. And here's a great question. Strange Invaders, that UFO show, UFO Busters. Do you guys think that Trump will disclose UFOs? He seems to be very into the UFO topic. If he had information, do you think he would actually disclose it? Tim, I'm going to have you answer that one. What do you think?
No, No, he's not. But he did say just yesterday or today that day one in office, maybe day two, he's going to tell what he knows about the drones.
Did he say that?
He did say that. He did say
And
that.
you know what his answer is going to be? I don't know anything about the drones.
Sorry to tell you, I don't know about the drones. But look, I've talked a lot about this recently. I'm not going to expound on it too much here, but two things that should tell you that we're not going to find out about UFOs from the government, and we're not going to find out about the drones probably from the government military. One, the JFK files. All these years later, and we still can't find out everything there is to know about the JFK assassination. And then number two, and our friend of the show, Lee Starks, author of Orbit, about a UFO crash retrieval team, who is also an experiencer, has experienced a triangular UFO craft of his own. Remember that, CJ?
Yeah.
Well, he was telling me the other day, do y'all remember the Bin Laden raid? The Bin Laden raid and the helicopter? We don't know anything still. Nothing. Nothing about that.
Some people know some things about that.
Oh, yeah. Some people know, but we don't know.
You're talking about with SEAL Team 6, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And they're not going to tell us.
Well, that's not entirely accurate, actually. There was video released of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, so much of that is still unknown, right? And still classified. And so to think that, they're going to tell us exactly what's happening with the drones or with UFOs. And CJ and I have talked to people that Nick Pope that have made great points that, if disclosure was easy, it would have already happened. It's quite possible, indeed, that the reason it hasn't happened is that there is a truth much too terrible for society to take. And this would explain why we are not finding out the truth and why we're in no danger of finding out anytime soon. Sorry, that's a little bit of a downer.
Mr. Beast is an alien leader, an alien overlord. And we're all just part of the simulation.
He's interested in the UFO topic. And CJ, we tried to get him on the show before. We have that North Carolina connection. We're based just down the road from him. But it's a good thing we never did get him because I probably would have been ineligible for Beast Games.
Who knows? I hear he doesn't have a whole lot of free time these days.
No, probably not. And so maybe one listener question for everybody to tackle. Do you think that's all right? Let's see. I like this one. I think this is a great one for everybody to give their opinion on. Let me pull it up here.
Okay, listener question. How would you rate yourself on a beast scale from 1 to 10 after the competition? Great. Okay, so Jesse, we'll start with you. What is your 1 to 10 on the beast scale?
Like what? Like how did I feel, or like what? Like I'm trying to understand the details of the beast.
I think they mean 10 being the best.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we get that 10 is a bit. Thank you. Does he mean like in the competition, how they did, or how they feel after the competition, or are we talking strength?
I think that's open interpretation.
Are we talking cool. Dark chocolate sea salt beast bar, or?
Yeah, I'll say this. I'll say 10 out of 10 as a beast. Brush it off. It happened. Move forward. Made some great relationships from it, and we're in the beast catalog now. We can always be pulled for something new. So let's get it.
That's a great outlook. Yes. How's anybody going to go after that? I'd be like, I feel like a 2. Yeah. All right. Okay. Wes.
I would say a hard 7.
A hard 7.
Yeah.
Solid.
I played the game, but you had to go in there with a mentality that you can't just sit in the corner. You have to meet friends. You have to talk to people. You just have to take it in every day and just enjoy it, because this is how I met Tim. We were just hanging out, playing cornhole for half of the day, eating good food, just enjoying it.
I mean, it wasn't half the day, right?
Yeah, most of the day, just talking to some of the people.
Those days were long and hard.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, just enjoying it. I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to go back to work. enjoying the vacation, if some people would call it that. But yeah, like Jesse was saying, you're in the catalog. He could call you up whenever if they want fresh faces. Yeah.
I hope so.
It sounds like part of it was, fun and vacation, and the other part of it was torture. So, give me a break. All right, Devin, how are you feeling post Beast games? What are you on the Beast scale?
I think I'm probably a 6. I mean, because I kind of hid down in that middle area, and that was my game. Most of the time was like, okay, stay in the middle. Like in Vegas, I kind of was in the front a little bit. With Jesse knows I was trying to help with him, but then I'd step back a little bit because I know there was a lot of people that wanted to be the alphas, and I'm like, okay, let them be the alphas, let them do their own thing, let them try to take over the world and things like that. But I'll step back and I'll see because I wanted to see how far I could actually go. And I think in the middle of all that, I probably should have amped it up a little bit more. I probably should have went out and met more people and socialized more. I did socialize a lot, but then I also backslid and stayed with my own group, which didn't help me. I mean, I was out in episode 4, so there's that. But yeah.
Yeah. So you think if you did it again, you would just be a little bit more social?
I think if I did it again, I'd probably would push to be maybe a leader for a few things and try to help push that way. Because I mean, I'm loyal to the T. If I say I got your back, I got your back. I mean, even if it means I got to bow out myself, that's fine. I mean, if there was a season 2 and they let me back in, I could do that.
All right, Tim.
I do have to tell this quick cornhole story. So,
boy, here we go.
First of all,
mute myself while I drink my drink.
The former pro wrestler and me, we got to be friends. What was his name again? Do y'all know who I'm talking about? Big dude.
I know who you're talking about. He had the brace on his knee, right?
Yeah.
Corey.
Corey, yes. Yeah. What was his wrestling name? Do y'all remember? Corey. I'm trying to remember his wrestling name. Well, anyway, him and I were cornhole partners, and we challenged Nolan and another partner one day. And I was just right. Quick story. And we smoked Nolan and his partner in cornhole, just obliterated him for the cornhole championship. But the story is, at some point there were these security guards on the towers, like guarding the stairs, so you wouldn't sneak up there. And there was this one security guard, had a big bushy beard. And I noticed one day he was watching us play cornhole, and I invited him over to play with us. And he's like, "Oh, no, I can't do that. That they won't let us, do that." And so I'm like, "Okay, cool." And we keep playing cornhole and everything. And we're in a close game, real close. And my team comes back and we take the lead. And about that time, I hear somebody yell, "What's the score?" And it's the security guard from the towers. And he had been watching us play cornhole, and he wanted to know the score update. My B scale, I'm going to give myself an 8 because I felt like I played super hard. It's why I didn't sleep in Vegas, because I was just trying to soak it all in. When I saw people I recognized, like Sifu from Survivor, I went and I talked to them. I made great new friends. I met people from American Ninja Warrior and all kinds of other things like that, people from all over the country. I made a lot of bonds. I had some packs, that, hey, we would pick each other if we had gotten the ticket there in episode 4. And I played and I strategized and I tried to figure out what was going on. And, and then it just didn't work out. And so for that reason, I'm going to give myself an 8 because I really played as hard as I could. But maybe next time, season 2, I'll move in that 9 or 10 category when I make it to the final 2 or 3 people.
Well, there you go, Mr. Beast. You have 4 people willing to come back for season 2. Do we think there will be a season 2?
Oh, there will be.
Yeah. With how successful it's been. Yeah. It has been just huge. And what a great job they did promoting this show, too. Did you guys see what they were doing in New York before the first episode aired?
Oh, the guys with the guards with the briefcases and stuff.
So that was one thing. They were doing that all over the world. But in New York, they had the stop walk signs, the like green little man go. It would turn to the Beast Games.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. And they had Beast Games on the side of huge buildings. And of course, when you guys were out in Santa Monica, they had that drone show that they did. They really spared no expense for promoting the show. It was super fun. And it's been really fun as a viewer to watch it. So well done to all of you. Thanks for giving up your time and your lives and your mental sanity and your health and well-being for our entertainment.
Anytime.
Absolutely. I'm not sure I want to know what our Australian friends are getting at here, but UFO Busters says, I play cornhole with some women of Australia and they love it. Nice way to make popcorn.
I'm lost. I'm sure there's
I
something.
think he meant conversation.
Where women glow and men thunder. They come from the land down under.
Good song.
We're still waiting on our Vegemite sandwich.
That's right. Get your Vegemite sandwich.
Oh
Vegemite. Oh my gosh, that stuff's horrible.
Hey,
Oh,
is it any more horrible than overnight oats? Though let me just ask
Dude,
that.
I'll take overnight oats 100 times before, but Vegemite just tastes like crushed cockroach. Like it's just, and I've never had crushed cockroach, but I would think that's what it would taste like.
oh
Look,
my
I'm not
God.
gonna lie. If I had 3 things in front of me, appetizers, overnight oats, Vegemite, and haggis. Overnight oats is my last pick. Like that's
What is haggis?
Stop
What is
it.
haggis?
You don't want haggis.
it's animal intestines in Scotland. They love it in Scotland.
Like,
Well, what is Vegemite made out of?
You got me, and so it can't be worse than overnight oats.
Oh my gosh. Well, this has been so much fun. And Beth had to leave us early. What a character she is. If you have not had a chance yet to check her out, go to Offline Granny. She makes the absolute best. I'm going to hold my phone up here for a second. Memes and gifts that you can get for your phone. I spent far too long today looking at all of her memes. She is a character. So check her out. And we've got, Devin Youngblood joining us. Devin, you have your own podcast, right?
I do.
So where can people find information about that?
It's everything's under the same name. It's under either the Youngbloods or the Youngblood Life, and it's everywhere you can hear a podcast. I mean, we're everywhere. So
Okay. Well, go check out Devin. Wes, anything you're promoting today?
Well, I could promote my school that I do. I'm the assistant program director for nuclear medicine school at UNC. Just trying to get the name out there.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, we don't have any advertisement because it's a tuition-free program. But if anybody wants to become a nuclear medicine technologist, just reach out to me.
Is that like a common thing that people sign up to do? No. Okay.
No one knows what I do.
Yeah.
Sounds
Whenever I tried
tempting, though.
explaining it, yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
"Do you make bombs?" I was like, "No, I teach."
Hmm.
Yeah,
I teach people.
Oh,
Yeah, I
darn
teach
it.
people.
We're on to the next.
Yeah. All right. And Jesse, Tim gave me a list of all the things that you do. And I was like, phew, I'm going to let him explain it.
Yeah. I think the best thing for people to just connect with Astro J Forte. I actually just restarted my YouTube channel, so really excited about that. Have content going for the rest of the year, and just Instagram. So if anybody wants to hit me up, that's my calling. It's everything aerospace, analog astronaut, space exploration, but then also human performance and motivation. So hit me up.
Nice. And you said you've got content going for the rest of the year. When you say that in January, that's a big statement. People will say that in December and you're like, oh, okay, fine, the rest of the year. But the whole year, you're logged in for content.
Oh yeah, every day for the next
Every
365 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I will be sure to check you out, and everybody else should as well.
On
And then of course
YouTube.
there's us on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube. That's where it's at. All right, Tim, anything else you wanted to cover before we head out for the evening?
Well, I do want to encourage our listeners. We've got some folks chiming in. Check out friends of the show, Strange Invaders at UFO Show, UFO Busters on YouTube. They're friends of the show. Check out Nine Lives Energy, who's been with us all night tonight on YouTube. Our podcast, in case you didn't know, Patricia Cornwell still has a new book out. New York Times bestselling author Patricia Cornwell. Her latest book, New York Times bestseller, Identity Unknown. Turn to page 164. We're there. CJ and I are there All Things Unexplained on page 164.
Yeah.
Marino and Dorothy's favorite podcast, and along with Ancient Aliens, their favorite television show. So we're pretty excited about that. And All Things Unexplained is imminently close to releasing a new nonfiction book on UFO whistleblowers. Nick Pope has been kind enough to write the foreword for the book for us, and Dan Warren has written the afterwards. So we're excited for that book to hit the market really soon from Schiffer Publishing. It's going to be called Voices in the Shadows, and it's a UFO whistleblower story book that uncovers a lot of things out there about underground bases, Tim Taylor, a whole lot of stuff, including some very disturbing things with UFOs. So that's all I'm going to say for now.
Oh, is that all you're going to say? Okay. Whew. Glad we didn't get too far with that one. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. That was a lot of fun. And I've really enjoyed watching Beast Games and getting to know each and every one of you. And now I have to go back and rewatch them with your numbers in mind so I can see what I missed before. All right, Tim.
Great.
Dare I give you the final word? I don't know.
You may as well. Thanks again
Buckle
to
up.
Wes. Thanks to Devin. Thanks to Beth. Everybody for joining us. Somebody wanted to know where can we find their links. All their links are in the show descriptions, and they will be there wherever you look at the show, and you can directly go to all of their stuff. Check out Devin's podcast. We always appreciate other podcasters, and follow his podcast and subscribe. You know, folks, one thing that I saw my own GIF recently, a meme, and it's something I'm going to try to do this year. And it said, you know what? Movies would be real boring if the main characters just sat on their phones all day or sat behind a screen all day long. That would be such a boring movie. And it said, you know what? Go out and do main character stuff. And that's what I'm going to try to do this year. And that made me think of Beast Games too. UFO Busters says, bye guys, bye UFO Busters. That's what I'm going to try to make my entire 2025 of. It's just an extension of Beast Games. Going out every day and making every day full of main character stuff. I think that's what I want to do in 2025. And I think everybody should do that. We all need to get off our phones, get off our screens, head outside, get out into the woods, go stargazing. You might not find Bigfoot. You might not spot a UFO. But you might find something even more important, and that is you might find yourself out there. Thanks, everybody.
Starring in the show, main character energy.
Main character stuff. Let's get it. 2025. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Yeah.
All Things Unexplained.
What's your hot take on Travis Taylor?
I've got an exclusive for you guys if you want it about the Alaska.
We do.
Okay.
Dr. Taylor was revealed to be the chief scientist of the UAP task force with the Pentagon.
So some of that, I think, sir, will save for closed session.
All Things Unexplained is free to watch on YouTube and listen to wherever you get your podcasts. If you would like to support our show, you can visit our YouTube store. Additionally, you can find us on Venmo under All Things Unexplained. Be sure to check out our website, allthingsunexplained.com. All proceeds from the sales of Dr. Mounce's books on Amazon and Audible also go straight to our show.